Okay, in this VTM here, what we're going to be doing is taking a look at all the steps necessary so that our vehicle can appear in game and be driven. And not only driven, but also weapons that are functional. We want to be able to fire the weapons on the front. Joel, hop in that thing.
Alright, so let's just go over here, press U to get in. And
our guy, he's kind of hanging out in there. Look at that. He can fire weapons. We've got the 2 miniguns on the front. He can do his little wheelies. He's cruising around. He's having a good time. Yeah, you know it. And we want to show you everything that's required to do this. And the turret in the back, we're going to show you how to make that fully functional as well, so you can jump up in the turret. Now, let's go ahead, Joel, and jump over to Maya real quick. All right, so if you remember, this is kind of where we left off in the last VTM. We showed you how to take our model and get it all over into Unreal Engine. This is in Maya. This is where we was at, okay? And then, of course, it all ended up with a package over there, but we don't have Unreal Engine open at the moment, so we figure we'd just show you a little Maya action.
Oh, yeah.
Just as a reminder. Now, Joel, if you could go ahead and open up the folder structure.
All right.
And what we're going to do, here we are inside the Unreal Tournament 2004 directory. And basically, we have created a folder called Dune Buggy. I mean, this is our standard project type stuff. Go ahead and jump into that, Joel. And up underneath it, we've got a classes folder. So let's go up under classes. And here are all the files that we're going to be working with. The cool thing is, we're not going to start from scratch and build this thing up for the simple fact that it would take a very long time. And there's really no reason to.
Right.
Because, well, the game ships with flying vehicles, hovering vehicles, driving vehicles of multiple flavors. So all you need to do is pick and choose from the vehicles that you like, that your vehicles are basically going to resemble, and start by copying their code, and then go in and start making the appropriate changes so that it'll control your vehicle. And then at that point, you can start tweaking some of the physics, the way it's going to basically behave when you throttle it and brake and stuff like that, and as well as tying in the weapons, etc., etc. So we're going to show you how to go about doing that, how to find that code, how to get it copied over, you know, things like that. Now, right now, we just want to show you that the folder structure is in place, and we're going to be working over in context, and Joel's going to have all the hotkeys already set up to make the whole compiling and running issue just a quick breeze. Want to go over those real quick again, Joel?
All right, we have F9, which is going to compile our file, and it also deletes any old .u files that we have in there. And we also have F10, which is going to bring up a already existing map that we have, which we will show in the next lesson when we actually get our vehicle created. We'll slap in a vehicle in a simple map, and then every time we press F10, it'll load that map and already have the vehicle in that map.
Yeah, it's really just a test map. That's all it is. So don't expect anything super fancy.
Because it isn't. So, yeah.
Because it isn't. Now, one last thing I want to point out is there is kind of a prerequisite to this VTM, and that is that you have already gone through at least Unreal Script VTM number 1, and you have a general understanding of how projects work, what .u files are, what .uc files are, the compiling process, how to go about configuring context, which is what we're going to be using. Of course, you're going to be using any IDE that's available out there for download, or any text editor that makes you happy. And then finally, as long as you have an understanding of that, everything should go pretty smooth, because we're not going to slow way down to get into nitty-gritty Unreal Script type stuff. We're just going to show you what's required to make this vehicle functional.
That's right.
That's what we want. All right, so with that, that's going to really wrap up the intro. And in the next lesson's cool. We are not going to get out of the next lesson until this vehicle is in the game, actually drivable. It may not have weapons or anything, but it will be drivable.
Oh, yeah.
So with that, let's go and get started. Okay, in this lesson here, what we're going to do is take our Dune Buggy that we have brought into Unreal and put into the package ONS Dune Buggy and make it operational. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to set up the code that is required to make this thing function inside of an Unreal Tournament level.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a good intro?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes, it is. Of course it is.
So I guess at this point we need to get a little bit more realistic. Realistic, I tell you. What
realistic.
we need to do is start by finding the code that we need to copy. Now watch this. This is cool. Joel, go ahead and open up the folder that has our project in it, just to show them that it's empty.
Dink.
Remember that? Dune Buggy did that for your classes?
Look, empty.
We deleted everything.
It's all gone.
We cried. We were sad. We got rid of it. Now, where's the code come from?
Well, it comes from what we exported, the scripts that we exported from.
Okay. So we exported all our scripts.
Yes, we did, by simply coming up to here. Under Actor Classes, we just said export all scripts.
Woohoo! Okay.
Yes, not that difficult.
And then we put them up under a reference folder inside our Unreal folder.
Right here.
Okay.
So all of these are right here.
Yeah.
So now what we want to do is just go into
make sure out there, if you're following along and you've never done anything like this before, you do export out all of your...
Maybe we should give them 1 second to do that.
Okay.
All right, so
now that you've got everything exported, you should be able to follow us just fine.
That's right. So let's come into our Onslaught directory under Classes. So as you can see, we have all of these classes.
The Epic guys have been extremely busy.
Oh, yes.
And people wonder why it takes so long for a game to come out.
Yeah.
We're going to make like 4 of these. They've made hundreds, thousands of these.
That's right.
215 UC scripts reside.
Reside.
I was working on it, man. I knew it was wrong because I was like, that's some funny stuff. But 215 UC scripts reside in this folder alone.
That's right. So what we can do is come into Context, and what we can do is grab ONSPRV. This is the closest vehicle that's already in existence to our vehicle. It's very, very similar.
Well, it has 4 wheels.
Yes, it does.
That's a good start.
Yes, it does. So what we can do is take ONSPRV, drag and drop it into here, and let's just look at this quick. So as you can see, we have our vehicle fire, so that when you fire, recommend vehicle, and all sorts of other properties. So this is the file that we want.
Right now, look what happens when you do fire. When you're the driver and you fire,
servers.
It calls the function server play horn. Bom, bom.
Exactly. So what we can do, this is the file we want, so we know to copy this file from our reference directory into our Dune Buggy classes folder.
Okay.
So copy him over, but we want to name him something different. ONS, which is Onslaught, Dune Buggy. So ONS Dune Buggy.
You may want to close out the one in context back there and drag and drop that one over there.
Exactly.
And to get a little bit more sophisticated, I don't know if this is possible, Joel, but inside of Unreal Ed right now, you've got the level opened up, the test level.
Yes,
right?
I do.
Can you jump into it real quick and show them which vehicle we're talking about that we're kind of stealing from to begin with?
Oh, sure.
Actually, you don't even have to jump into it. Just, there you go.
This guy right here.
Yeah, notice how it has 4 wheels, right?
1, 2, wait.
3, 4.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's important to know for them, just in case they don't associate, the script name with this guy.
That's right.
It's the base code for this vehicle that we're utilizing.
Right. So let's go ahead and jump back into context. So now everyone knows what we're working with.
Right.
Very first thing we want to do is instead of class ONSPRV, we have now changed this to ONS Dune Buggy. And remember, always have the...
That name must be the exact same as the actual file name itself. If you look up at the top, then you look at the class name, all is good. And we are still extending ONS Wheeled Craft.
And just to make this a little bit clearer for some people, if we go over to Unreal Ed, and let's bring up our actor browser real quick. And let's go down to Pawn, Vehicle, S Vehicle, ONS Vehicle, and these are all the things that we can extend from. As you can see, if we go back into context, ONS Wheelcraft is what we're extending from, and that's this one right here. And already we have ONS RV, ONS PRV, ONS Generic, etc., etc. So these are the ones that are available to us. So if we go back into context, well, that's the only one that makes sense for us, since, well, it has wheels, and it only makes sense. So what we want to do is come down to here, and check out a few of these properties. Well, first thing, let's try to compile this just directly.
Okay.
So what we can do is press F9, and it's going to try to compile it, delete dunebuggy.u, since it doesn't exist.
Because of the way we've got this set up in our
That's right.
file and all.
Now, it's going to give 2 little errors here. Now, that's nothing to panic about. When we export it just has a little error, so we can come in here, delete these 2 commas out.
This is up under the default properties section.
That's right. And it's going to... look. All is good.
Very nice, so it compiles.
So it does compile, but there's a few things that we're going to need to change. If we go all the way down here, well, actually, up a little bit, getting myself a little bit lost here.
Let's make sure everybody can keep up with where we're at. We're still inside the default properties.
That's right.
There are hundreds of properties for various vehicles.
All of these are all default properties. And the one we're concerned about right now is the mesh. So right now, the skeletal mesh is ONS Vehicles-A PRV Chases. We don't want that. We want ours.
Our chassis.
Chassis, thank you. Yeah, very funny. What we want to do is change this over to ONS DuneBuggy.Buggy. As you can see, if we come over back into Unreal Ed, I know I'm switching back and forth here,
that's
but
all great.
If we come over to here, our package is ONS DuneBuggy, and the mesh inside of that is Buggy.
Rock on.
So if we come over into a context, everything is set up correctly. Let's go ahead and press F9, and just give it a second, you know.
Elevator music.
And that works good.
Yes,
so now we have that set up. Now there's a few other things we need to set up before we can get this working. First of all, we do not want any passenger weapons yet. Passenger weapons is an array. In other words, we can have pretty much
hundreds of weapons stuck on your massive vehicle if you would like.
Exactly.
In this case, we have got an index 0 and an index 1, meaning that we have two weapons.
Exactly. So we're just going to comment this out with single-line comments.
Do I seem a little too happy about getting this vehicle into the game?
No, it's a good thing.
Awesome, yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Hurry up.
Yeah, well, I'm trying. Dun-dun-dun. So
let's still up under default properties, as you can see.
Of course, we are still under default properties. Now, at this point, a lot of things are going to be, well, pretty much working, but there's still some things we need to change. If we come down into right about here, well, I'm trying to get some bearings here, right after passenger weapons, if we come down to here, you'll notice this is where it's defining which wheel is which. And if you remember, look at this, bone name, right rear tire. This is where you would need to change if your tire names were something different.
And notice each begin object and end object section. And there's one for the right rear wheel, the left rear wheel, the right front wheel, and the left front wheel.
Right. And since we have this set up, if we need to go ahead and change this, it wouldn't make any difference right now because right here, wheels 0 is being set to onslaught.onsprv.rr wheel. We need to change this over to Dune Buggy, since that is the name of our .u file,
right.
.rr wheel. So now that is what we wanted. And let's go ahead.
Before we get too much further ahead, the naming's already been set right. Remember we told you back in the other VTM when we did all the rigging for our vehicle that the names such as right rear tire and right rear strut.
That's right.
That stuff, we were following the convention of this script right here.
Exactly.
And that's why we don't have to go about changing it. If you decided to make the joints utilize your own naming convention, make sure right here you change the bone names for both the wheel and its associated strut.
That's right. So what we can do is copy dunebuggy.rr wheel and just paste it for all of these. And for the right front wheel, yada yada, whoosh, and compile this guy. Give it a few seconds. So everything's good there. And of course, just so you can check this out, if we change this to Dunebuggy 2, it's going to give us an error, just so you know that we are, in fact, getting the right results. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Of course. And now there's going to be a few other things that we need to change. One last thing that will make it so that it will work, at least, is if we come back to here, we want to change, the karma parameters to Dunebuggy.kparams. Of course, we don't need to change it, but if we wanted to come and change to our own settings, we would have to change this down here.
That's right.
Otherwise, it uses the other vehicle's properties, which we don't want.
Then there's some things like when you jump in the vehicle, the name of it, etc., etc.
That's right, and we will get back to this in just a second. I want to try to only change the
bare minimum stuff?
The bare minimum stuff,
Okay.
and then when we get over, then start changing the rest of it. Because there are a few important things like the light position, where the position is, the textures, etc., all sorts of weird stuff. Well, not weird, but there are important stuff. So let's go in here, compile this one more time to make sure everything is right the way we want it to be.
There are important stuff.
Aha, very funny. And now let's switch back over into Unreal Ed and check this out. What we want to do, right now the vehicle is not yet in the level, well, because it wasn't in existence about 3 seconds ago.
Nope.
So if we come into actor classes, let's say load, and now we have our dunebuggy.u file. So let's open this guy up and expand him out. Go to pawn, vehicle, S-vehicle, ONS vehicle, ONS wheelcraft, and now we have ONS Dune Buggy. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
So let's exit this guy out, and of course it just switched over, no big deal. Come back into here, right click, and add ONS Dune Buggy here, and ooh,
it's bright.
It is bright.
That's
so
mega bright. I guess a couple properties that we can go ahead and set.
Yeah, go into our ONS Dune Buggy properties under display. Yeah, let's just turn off B unlit to set that to true, just to make it not quite so bright. And
it's already been lit.
That's right. And come down to team and set it to 1, which is blue. And
so that when we go into the game, basically we don't have to kill ourselves and change team size.
Exactly. So with that set up, that should be everything. Hopefully I didn't forget anything.
Okay.
So let's go and load up our game. So let's play the map.
Ding, 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 ding.
I probably made a mistake.
Ding, 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 ding.
Knowing me. Yeah. Alright, so let's come in here. And, weird. We can come in here and check this out. Let's press U and,
Oh, that's very interesting. Well, we got a couple things going on.
That looks kind of painful.
First of all, outside of the fact that our player has now been impaled by the roll bar system of the vehicle, we do have... Look at that, man. It's all set.
We have a driving vehicle.
It's a driving vehicle.
That's how easy it was. Amazing.
I mean, it was. It really, the things that we changed over the script were common sense things. Now, look at that. Our brake lights are, of course, 10 feet
way
back.
Off.
And our front lights are
just a little bit off.
Close.
Yeah.
Our player is in the right spot. Just kidding. And of course, we're missing our weapons and all. Notice that we do not have a turret on the back.
That's right.
Joel is demonstrating.
No turrets.
And we can also zoom in closer to this if we want to, just by rolling the mouse wheel, all the way to the point where we get to see what it actually feels like. So look at that, first person.
Ouch.
The pain.
Yeah, very painful. So yeah, that's
very cool.
That's right. So let's come into here and let's exit this guy out. Now what we want to do is make some more changes. So let's directly exit out of Unreal Ed.
Okay.
So now that we've got that closed, let's just go in here and change a few more properties. First off, let's try to get the lights in a little bit of better position. They're kind of... Yeah, so under default properties, if you look down here, if I could find it, we have headlight, corona, offset, sub-0, and sub-1.
They're using freaky numbers for X, Y, and Z.
Yes,
How do we come up with these numbers? Well, first of all, let's point out that, of course, the headlight corona offset is an array.
Right, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, whatever. Meaning that we can have 50 different lights if we'd like to, which is really, really cool. But we've got to come up with some sort of numbers for X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And how do we do it? First of all, look at these numbers. They look they're pretty much identical, right?
Yeah, they are.
Except for that minus sign.
Right, and the reason for that is that, well, they're duplicated onto the other side.
Now, maybe we should also show them the draw scale.
Yes, I was just about to. You keep beating me to everything.
I'm thinking like you right now.
Let's just search for a draw scale from the top. Dink. And look right here. Underneath our mesh, we have draw scale, and right now it's set to 0.8. Well, it looks really good in the game right now.
So our PRV vehicle that we brought over was already, basically in their code, they had, after modeling and everything, they brought it over into the game. They were like, whoa! It's a little big. Let's make it 20% smaller.
Right.
So they set the draw scale to 0.8. Well, for us, it happens to work out pretty good as well, because when we set this to 1, holy cow, is it big.
Yes, it is.
So we'll leave it at 0.8, but that means we're about to jump over into Maya.
Yeah, so if we jump over into Maya.
We're going to use Maya for determining where we need to place our lights. In other words, we're going to get our X, Y, and Z numbers from inside of here.
That's right.
But we've got this 20% difference that we have to worry about. So with that, we're going to get into using
a little bit of Mel.
A Mel script. Maya's embedded language. It's a scripting language that's built into Maya for those that are not familiar with it. And this is going to be some pretty cool stuff. We'll see if we can explain some of this.
Oh, yeah. So let's go open the outliner, and let's go to create, and let's just create a simple locator for now. So let's create this guy, and...
Locator's just a null object that we can use for parenting things to, linking things to.
Ooh, that's small.
That's pretty teeny.
So let's kind of increase the size of this a bit.
Hey, now blind people can see it.
That's a fact. So if we just snap this guy over to about something like, well, let's switch over to our move tool first. And so right about there, that's where our headlight corona should be.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we want to do is get the position of that. Well, right now, if we come over to our translate XYZ, we get 43, 23, and 169. So, but
you don't want to round those off to like 43, 23, and 169.
43, 23, 170. All right.
There we go. I feel better.
Oh, you should.
But
so,
we need to get 20% of that.
We need to get 20% of that. That's where Mel can come in handy. Also, you need to remember that this is a Z-up world inside of Unreal.
That's right.
So we need to be flipping those values around a bit.
Because this is Y-up right here, and this can get us in trouble. Our numbers are incorrect.
Right, it can confusing. So let's open our script editor here. And I have this one Mel script here. Let me just drag this over here with the middle mouse button.
And let's take a look at this thing. Let me go ahead and jump over here and steal the mouse away from Joe.
Now, as always.
Yeah, let me do a little talking. So those out there that don't have the script, that you'd like to get the script, I'm going to leave it up here for a second so you can copy the script. You can also hit the pause button just in case you forgot you had one. But check this out. Here's what's happening. First thing we're doing is we're coming in and we are creating a, remember, by the way, I said the prerequisite is you must understand some basic Unreal Script programming, right?
Right.
So that means I can talk pretty much English right here. In other words, coding, and everybody should be able to understand.
Should be.
So we are coming in here and we're creating a variable called $selected. Inside of mel, every variable always has a dollar symbol at the beginning. Always does.
Always.
And then you'll notice we have an open and a closing square bracket. That means this is an array. It can hold multiple strings in this one variable. And we're doing an assignment, so we're using an assignment operator, and we're running a command. LS, which is basically
list.
Give me a listing of something.
Right.
Yeah, basically it's a list. And then what are we going to get a list of? Well, we're using the flag -SL. And what that means is give me a list of everything that's selected in the scene currently. Now, that's why, of course, it needs to be dumped into an array because you may have one thing selected. You may have 15 things selected. Who knows? So, and also you'll notice we have accent marks around this. This is required because we are running a Maya command that needs to return information to somebody. When you end up in a situation like that, you have to have accent marks, okay? Now, accent marks, by the way,
are not single quotes.
They're not single quotes. They're the one all the way over by your number 1 key on the far left-hand side of your keyboard, right above the tab key, and the same one as the little tilde key.
Right.
Okay? So, we've basically got a listing of everything selected. We crammed it into here. The goal is, with our little utility, is that we're only going to have the locator selected that we're interested in getting the X, Y, and Z position at that given point in time. One thing down. Of course, we have a terminator, ends the line. Next line, coming on down here, we're creating another variable, a float. Its name is $POS, and it doesn't stand for what may first come to mind. And it's got an open and a closed square bracket. Okay, so the dollar position here, it's also an array. It's a float array. And what we're doing is look at this. You see the little squigglies up there, our little accent marks. It means we're executing a Maya command that needs to return something. And, of course, we need to return something because of the assignment operator. So we're saying get adder. This is a command that will get an attribute value. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch the intro to Maya lessons. These are attributes. We need to get the values of something over there. And what we want to do is we want to get the value of, and now we've got some parentheses going over here because we're using a little concatenation. We're dealing with a string. Remember back up here, our variable type of $selected was a string. We're saying $selected sub-0. Okay, so what we're doing is we're referring to the very first index, the very first thing inside our array, which technically it should only be one thing anyways because we've got, what, one object selected, our locator. So our locator's name, and in this case it's locator1, so it'd be locator1 plus .translate. So we're appending a string to the end of this, a little concatenation, so you end up with, all of this basically gets replaced with Locator1 .translate. So it's get adder, Locator1 .translate, and of course Maya knows, oh, okay, well, yes, of course. Let's get the translate X, the translate Y, and the translate Z. Now hopefully you can see why we did a float array, because we've got 3 pieces of information coming back, 3 different floats, okay? Then we come down here and check this out. All we do is a little operation on the 3 floats. We do a simple multiply equals, which is the same thing as saying $POS sub-0 equals $POS sub-0 times 0.8.
Right.
Okay?
Draw scale.
So basically what we do is we reduce this by 20%, by 20%, by 20%. So we find 80% of it.
That's right.
Okay? And we store that, of course, back in 0, 1, and 2 of $POS. And then finally we come down here and we print out, and we're using the exact same format that we saw over inside of Unreal Ed. Over inside our scripts. Matter of fact, if I jump over here real quick, let's see. Where were we at over here? Got to find this guy somewhere. There we go. That's pretty good right there. Yeah. You see how we got this little X equals blah, 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 comma, Y equals blah, 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 Z equals blah, 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 right?
Right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to echo this stuff out up here to the history area in the exact same format, so we can just copy and paste. Makes life really easy. So check it out. So what we're going to do now is we're going to say print, and then we're just saying print X equals, and we append to that whatever was stored in $POS sub-2.
Which is Z.
Which is Z. Remember, it's a zero-based array world, so 0, 1, 2, X, Y, Z. And so Z in Maya is really X over inside of Unreal. And then we append to that a comma. Then we append to that Y equals. And then sub-0, what was normally X back in the Maya world. And we append to that a comma. And then we append to that Z equals. And we append to that 1, which was Y. Because it's a Y up world in Maya. And a Z up world over inside of Unreal. So we append that to it. And we got this whole little thing. So let's check it out in action. Have our locator selected. We can simply highlight our code to execute it, and you can hit Control-Enter to run it, or enter on your numeric keypad on the far side, and check it out. It printed out some good stuff for us.
Oh, yeah. It makes our life so much more easy.
Okay, I'm spent. Joel, it's yours.
All right. So what we can do now is take what is just printed out, copy it, go back over into context, and this is how hard it is. Copy. Paste. Dink.
That's pretty hard.
That was hard. I don't know if I can handle that. And of course, for the other one, all we need to do, paste it, and just switch the negation on the Y.
Hey, that's pretty easy.
Very, very easy. Now, we still want 2 more Coronas, because if we look over in Maya here, we have this guy here and this guy here. So what we can do is take this locator, and you know what? I enjoy renaming, so I'm going to say front headlight. And we'll duplicate him and call this middle headlight. I don't know. Something like that.
Roll bar headlight. Just kidding. Keep going. No,
okay. We can come in here and change the vertex. Oh, well, change the vertex.
To the vertices.
Or snap to the vertex. Thank you. And just snap.
Of course he's...
Yeah, I know. So snap over to that one. So that's perfect
Maybe
location.
Move it forward just a tad.
Maybe move it forward just a tad.
Yeah.
So now we can come up here, and since we have this small little button here...
Yeah, we can just hit the button as opposed to coming down into the script editor and rerunning it.
Dink. Ah, nice. So we just copy this guy, go over into context. Now, we do need to... So let's just paste this here quick, and take these 2 lines, copy them, and paste them, since we do want 2 more headlight Corona offsets.
Headlights or headlights?
Headlights.
Hey.
And we could change this to 2 and 3, since, again, this is an array. So index 0, 1, 2, and 3. Then we can come in here, take this guy, and cut him out, and then paste him right there. And do the same for the third one, paste him in, and just switch the sign. Dink.
Yeah, and we could trim our numbers up a little bit if we want to make it look a little
nicer.
But
it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So now, with that set up, let's go ahead and set up our brake lights. So let's go up to here, and we have brake light offset. So what we want to do is come back over to here, duplicate this guy, and change this to brake light. Well, not brake. Hey, I can spell, honestly. So we can come over to here, and let's switch over to vertex mode.
We don't really have any modeled, but we'll at least just get them lined up to the right location.
Right, something like that. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. So right around there.
Yeah, sounds good.
So again, come over to our mail button, click it, and ooh, it gives us a nice value. I just love how that works. It's so convenient. You know.
Oh, I know.
So let's copy and paste this over into here, switch the sign, and we're done. One more thing though. Our character is in a very uncomfortable position, painful position. So what we can do is come down into here and find our drive position. And let's switch this around a bit. Now, we can come back over into Maya, duplicate him, and we can say driver position. Now, where does this guy need to be? Let's just pull him over here.
About where the head of the character is.
Yes, exactly, about where the head of the character is. So let's switch to a front view just really, really quick. And just kind of line this up to the center here. Pull him up to about right there. And let's just kind of adjust this a little bit. So maybe right about to there. I'm thinking right about to there. And if we switch over to another view, let's move it in Z just a little bit. So way back, actually, so that he's not totally sitting on the hood.
So his head's not stuck in the bar.
So something like that. So as you can see, his head is right about on the base of the bar. And this is not exactly the head position. It's right about there. But it's kind of something that you just need to play with and find the right position.
Yeah, you'll find that there's going to be a little tweaking involved.
Right. So come in here, and let's just grab this guy. Dink. Come over to context and say driver position equals U. And of course, maybe we could just tweak these values out a little bit so they're not, we could just round them up a bit. Doesn't really matter. We can come into, actually, let's be very, very careful here. If we switch back over to here, we could just take these and round them off, since we do want to keep this file in the future if we want to come back.
True.
So we can change it in here. So maybe change this to, say, 20. Change this guy to maybe 48.5. I don't know, something. Just kind of extracting numbers. And just, something even. So something like that. Come into here. Use our Mel script again.
And now you want to start making the numbers all pretty.
For the driver position, it's special.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. So that's looking pretty good. Why don't we go ahead and test it out? So let's press F9 to compile.
Do you want to test now, or you want to go ahead and finish off like the texture?
Oh, good point. So what we can do is come up to here.
Because really, with the texture and what vehicle you're in and all, that's pretty much about going to wrap up the whole thing. So we can just do it all at one time.
That's a good idea. So what we can do is come up to here and just find it. And we have our shader. This needs to, number one, be a texture. And notice, we have red skin and blue skin. Both of them can be the same in our case.
Yeah, and we haven't created a shader for this guy. It's just a simple texture that we brought in.
Right. So this is going to be Dune Buggy Text And this is going to be simply Dune underscore text, if I remember correctly. Am I remembering correctly?
We can always go over into Unreal. I mean, we've got to open up Unreal Ed anyways.
That's true. So let's go ahead and press F11. I have that keybind as well.
You are special.
Yes, I know.
Not really.
Aw, come on.
Yeah, all right, a little bit.
Okay. So if we come over into our texture browser here, let's just load it up. And if we go over to here, we have our Dune texture, looking, searching, making sure we're in the correct spot. No, we just need to switch over to the correct location. No big deal. Come over to here. And this needs to be Dune texture. So looking, Dune buggy text. So there we have it. And you notice it's Dune underscore texture. I was close. So Dune buggy text, Dune underscore texture. So make sure that's right. It's always good to come in here and look. No big deal. Coming over here. And let's press F9.
And you're still not done.
I'm still not done.
Nope, scroll to the bottom.
Naming.
Yeah.
You want to change this, don't you?
You're in a Dune buggy.
Yes, I'm in a Dune buggy. This guy's a Dune buggy. So, something like that. How's that? Does that make you feel better?
Okay, I'm feeling better.
Okay. So, we can come in here, just press F9, just for you. So, it's finished. Now we can just press F10. And it automatically loads up that special level that we created.
Yeah, it's not like we need to go back into Unreal Ed.
No.
I mean, we've already made the map and all.
So, as you can see, we have our vehicle over there. And let's just come in here and say kill all bots. Because, frankly, we don't want them to be destroying our vehicle.
Which he was about to.
Yes, he was. If we press U, ooh, check it out. The character is now in a very nice position.
And the texture's right.
And the texture's right. And look at that. The lights are in the perfect position. And if we look at the brake lights, ooh, yeah.
Look at you go.
So everything's looking really, really nice. I'm happy. So I guess that's really it.
Yeah, with that, we've now created an operational vehicle. We just need to go ahead and start getting our weapons into place. So with that, that's going to wrap up this lesson. Thanks, everyone. Okay, in this lesson here, what we're going to do is make things a little bit more interesting. We're going to get the turret fully functional so that Joel can jump into the back and fire away.
Oh, yeah.
Fire. That's right. So, let's see. That means we're going to need to do a few things. First of all, we need to get some code from somewhere. Well, let's switch over to our turret first, just to remind everybody what it looks like.
Ding.
Thank you. Right?
So fancy.
Well, guess what? If you remember, the PRV vehicle also had a turret as well in the back.
That's right.
So we're going to be borrowing a few scripts from him, 3 to be exact. If we could, let's go ahead and switch over to his package.
The vehicle or the weapon?
Let's go to the vehicle first. So, not that guy, but yeah, there we go. So this guy in the back, if we go ahead and cruise around to the back, you can see there's a big spot right there, has a weapon that gets spawned at game time.
That's right. And if you look at the bones, it spawned right at dummy 02.
That's right, which we're using the exact same thing. So let's go ahead and show them that basically the object that's going to get spawned there.
That's right. So let's switch over to here, switch over to weapons, and switch over to PRV rear gun.
So their vehicles are stored in one package. All their weapons are stored in another package. In our case, we decided to keep our package, the Dune Buggy, the entire thing. It's weapons, it's chassis, everything.
Right.
So here we are. This is their turret. I just want you to see that basically, inside of Unreal, there's so many things already there that all you need to do is kind of go shopping for what it is that you need, find their code, and start modifying. Just treat it as a base starting point and then modify from there. So let's do that.
All right.
So what code is required for that guy to be
fully functional?
Spawned and functional. Because spawned, we're going to have to actually go back to our first script that I was working with.
That's right.
But fully functional as well.
We can go into our classes here and check this out. We have ONS, PRV, rear gun charge, and rear gun pawn. Charge is for that whole charging sequence that you have where he loads up, gets more and more power, and then shoots out. And that's what this is used for. And this is for spawning it. And this is basically some of the properties inside of it.
Right. Now notice, of course, we are still up underneath our references on slot classes folder.
So let's take these 3 files, go over to our directory here, and just drag it down and copy it in here. Now move, copy. So after we have these 3 copied over, we want to make sure, rename. So Dune, rear gun charge. This guy is going to be Dune, rear gun pawn. And this guy is going to be Dune rear gun. So 3
and
files.
we need to drop the 3 of those into context and go ahead and rename their class names as well.
So we come over here and take this guy. Oh, not those. This guy, Dune. And come over to here. Go to the very top. Come over to here. Again, elevator music would be ideal. Wow, I wish all elevators were like that. So those 3 are set up. Now what we need to do is go through all 3 of these files and start setting up the necessary properties for them. So the first one, actually, you know what? If we go over to ONS rear gun, you'll notice this extends weapon. And this has all sorts of properties relating to it shooting out. And if we come down to here, you'll notice we have beam effect class is onslaught.ons charge beam effect. And down here we have DAM type charging weapon, charge rear gun charge, which is referring to this one right up here. We need to change a few things. So we could come in here and say, for instance, we need to change this to dunebuggy.ons dune rear gun charge, so it's referencing our file.
Now, of course, at this point, in the area that Joel is right now, we could go in here and start really changing the entire fire sequence.
Like, for instance, right up here, if you remember, let's go back into Unreal Ed for just a second. Come back up to our ONS Dune Buggy, switch over to our turret, and if we switch on bone and bone names, remember we have weapon fire here, rear gun turret. This is what? Which bone?
That's going to be our pitch bone.
Right, exactly. Right down here we have the rear gun base, which is going to be our yaw bone. So if we come back over into context, look at this. We already set up the correct naming. Rear gun base is the yaw, rear gun turret is the pitch, weapon fire attachment bone. We changed that to weapon fire. So if we come back into context, we want to change this to weapon fire. And again, gunner attachment bone is not going to be this. It's going to be, if you look in here, I'm sorry switching back and forth, but it just makes it more simple.
The gunner location.
Gunner location. So context, gunner location.
This is just to demonstrate that, again, you can use your own naming convention. Just make sure you change things in the script respectively.
That's right. So that's set up good. The shader. We also need to change this, but this is going to be exactly the same as in this file. So we can come over here. There's nothing wrong with copying and pasting. So come over to here, take this guy, paste him, because they do reference the same texture file. So that's looking good. Now what we can do is come in here, make sure everything is set up correctly. Looking pretty good to me. We have this guy referencing ours, so that's good. Now what we want to do is come over into here, and if we go down, the gun class that it's looking for is onslaught.onsprv rear gun.
We're dealing with the gun itself.
Right, the pawn. So what we want to do is say this guy is supposed to be Dune rear gun, and again this is supposed to be Dune buggy. Now, that's pretty much everything. Here's the thing though. At this point, what we want to do is make sure that right now everything is set up correctly for these 3 files, but what we need to do is actually have it so that the passenger weapon is spawned. Right now, nothing is going to happen. There's not going to be really any change. So let's come into here.
We commented those 2 lines out.
That's right. We need a passenger weapon. In fact, we only need one, so let's just get rid of this guy altogether. So, 1 passenger weapon, weapon pawn class equals, and this needs to be changed to class, and then the little single quote, followed by the class name. And the class name is no longer Onslaught, but dunebuggy.ons, Dune, and not side gun pawn, but Dune rear gun pawn. So like that. And the weapon bone. Again, let's go back into Unreal Ed, just so you can see how this is all finally tying back together.
It's important stuff.
If we go to buggy, if you look at the back here, check it out, we have a turret bone that we set up when we were in the first VTM. So if we come back into context, we want this to be turret. So with that set up, everything should be looking pretty good. Now, just as a recap, this is what it's going to spawn. Spawn, thank you.
Spawn. Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, I can't do it. We can come over to Dune Buggy ONS Rear Gun Pawn. So if we come over into this one right here, this one is extending ONS Weapon Pawn. If you look down here, the gun class is going to be equal to Dune Buggy.ONS Dune Rear Gun, and the camera bone is set to Rear Gun Turret, so that's where the camera is attached, if you will. And we can come over to here, so we're just following the hierarchy, back over to ONS Dune Rear Gun, and inside of here, the flash emitter class is referencing our ONS Dune Rear Gun charge. Now, right just yet, we're not really changing anything inside of it. So, in fact, it's still referencing the old one, if you will. It's the same.
Right.
So, we haven't really changed much regarding those. But our yaw bone is set up correctly, pitch bone, weapon fire attachment, gunner attachment, everything should be set up the way we want it to be. So, what we can do is our texture is also set up correctly, and you'll notice down here the draw scale is also set to 0.8. So, just keep that in mind. So, let's press F9 and see if we missed anything. If I made any errors. You never know. Ooh, see? If you look over here, we've just parsed all 4 of these files, compiled all 4 of them, imported all the defaults for all 4 of them. So now, everything seems to be looking, well, pretty good. So, let's go ahead and press F10 to run our level. Give it about 20 minutes, maybe 30.
You know, one of the things we didn't really look at is defining the radius in the area for them to jump into it.
Oh, yes, you're right. We can go ahead and do that.
While we're in here, so we can go ahead and take a quick look at this.
So let's just kill all the bots. They're kind of in my way.
They're stealing your vehicles.
And check this out. It is in there, but here's the thing. It's now referencing the wrong mesh. So if we come into here, that's great. We can come into here. Come over to here. Now it's set my texture to it, which looks kind of weird. And
their rotation's different than
their
yours.
rotation is different than mine as well. So kind of.
When I say rotation, I'm talking about their bones.
Yes, that's very weird looking. So what we want to do is exit out of this, and of course,
Joel made a boo-boo.
Very, very funny. Under our mesh, skeletal mesh.
The very first important thing he pointed out in the last lesson, he skipped in this one. Okay,
yep.
I'm just kidding. I'll be serious now.
ONS Dune, and we want to change this to ONS Dune Buggy, and change this to what, Mr. Smart Person?
I have no idea. Probably something like turret. Oh, wow, I got it right. That's amazing.
So that's set up good. One other thing that we want to set up is set the driver position the way I have my bone set up now. We can go ahead and set this to something different. I think I had values somewhere around 10 and 5. Of course, we can come back in here and change this in a minute, but something like that. So let's compile this guy. Or all 4 of these guys, actually.
Which, of course, there's the entry and exit points.
Oh, right. Well, we did want to discuss about this as well. Entry position, x equals -50. Let's go back into Maya for a second. And look at this guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So let's duplicate him. And right now, let's just zero these 2 out. And remember, right now, if we move this guy back, it's set to -118 in Z. If you look over here, X is set to -94. So that's kind of setting, well, where it's supposed to be. So if we
Remember
come back,
the 94, that's the 80% thing.
That's right. So if we come over into here, where do we really want the entry position to be? Well, if you look, in reality, we want it to be somewhere around -94 Z +17. Not what we have now, and that's why just a second ago I went to the back and it snapped into the vehicle. So it's kind of messed up there, if you will. So we can come into our entry position here and change this to, what did I have it over here? About -95.
Okay.
So that's going to move it all the way back here. In fact, you know, I could move it all the way back here so that he can get in to here as well.
Because you have a radius as well.
That's right, I do have a radius. So let me take this, let me just copy this entire thing, and come back over to here, paste this in, and I do have an entry radius of 160, so it looks in this area right here. So it's not just that one position, you have to be there. It's a radius. So let's come back into here. That's set up. I'm glad we touched on that as well. That is important.
I wonder if we made a NURB circle and adjusted its radius, if that would correlate to this.
Yes, it would.
So we should do that real quick just to show them. That way, if they made a more complex vehicle that had all sorts of entry points, I'm just thinking it'd be pretty cool to show them every reference possible.
That's a good point.
You're going to make a sphere?
You said make a sphere.
No, a NURB circle.
Oh, a NURB circle.
Yeah, go up to create, come down to NURBS primitive, circle. Yeah, snap it now, point snap back to that guy. Yeah, but you got to make sure you open up the center thing like such. Yes, that's nice. Now we can go over to the input node and
Okay.
Do you want to scale or you want to adjust radius? Which one will work best?
So let's move this guy over to here. And we want to set the radius to say, well, right now it's set to 160. So we can come in here and set 160. So that's a massive radius.
That is.
So, you know, maybe we want to change this to something like, I don't know, 120. So something smaller.
Yeah, that's good.
So we can come into context, switch this around to 120, just so you guys understand what's going on here.
And while we're in here, I'm sorry, I know you just hit compile, but what about entry into the vehicle from the passenger side?
Alright, so we can come over to our ONS Dune Buggy, and we have the same control as before. So let's come down over to here, and let's see, entry position is set to this value right here. So what we want to do is come over to here.
So hopefully by now you've seen each weapon is going to have its own entry position, meaning that if you start making all sorts of different stations, weapon stations, you can have all these different entry positions.
And of course, me and my naming. I want to change this to player entry position. It's good to have everything named correctly. And so we can come into here, take our player entry position, and you know what? Let's put it right to about, say, you know what? I like that.
I do too.
So I'm happy with that.
All right.
So we can come into here and say, all right, go back into our custom, open our script editor here, press our mel, and we get this nice little thing here. Copy him, go over to context, and under entry position, we can say paste you. So, voila.
That's pretty close to what it had, too.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have an entry radius of 190. Go ahead and duplicate that circle that you have over there and snap it to the that new locator.
So, come in here, Control-D, snap you to right about there. And this was, of course, since we did not...
Yeah, we didn't duplicate with our... Yep, here he goes, all getting all fancy.
Oh, well, I should delete this first. Come over to here, edit, duplicate
with the infograph.
Duplicate. So now if we move this guy, point snap him to over here, we now have our input node. So this was set
120 is not bad, though.
120 is not bad. So let's go into here and just...
Let's see what 190 look like.
Alright, so we come back into here, jumping back and forth.
Oh!
That's kind of big, so let's switch this to 120. It looks a little bit better to me. Now let's press compile.
Okay.
Are you happy?
There's still a hellbender in there, but I'll live with it.
Okay. Deal with it. So let's see. Da-da-da. Alright, now let's press F10. See what other mistakes we made. This is really good because this is how you will be working. Going in, saying, well, you know what, I actually wanted to change this or this around, you know. It's not a direct, finish it all in one shot type thing. So, kill all, bot.
Unless you're perfect.
Unless you're perfect, like me. Oh, wait, me. Okay, never mind. So we can come into here and check that out. So the
we have the right turret on there.
And the right turret is now on there. Yeah, that is a good point. Last time we kind of screwed that up. And look at that. Now it directly went in.
Check that out.
And check it out. We have firing and ooh, fancy.
Boom.
Of course, we could go in there at this point if we wanted to and made it so that they're closer together if we want. Because as you can see, we shoot it and, you know, they're a little bit farther apart. But you know what? For our circumstances, we don't really need to. Of course, just to show you guys where to change it if you want to, it does require a little bit of tweaking here. In our emitter, this is for the conjuring up, if you will. We have to change the start location offset to, say, 6. Okay. 6 seem to have worked pretty well in my case. And we do need to come in here and change all of these to our own DuneBuggy.ons ONS Dune rear gun charge. We need to change that for all of these. And there's quite a few in here. If we wanted to, we could come in to change these, but you know what? I don't think we need to.
Okay, sounds good.
So actually with that, I'm trying to think, is there anything else that we need to set up? Are you remembering anything?
Yeah, we have a functional turret. That was the primary objective of this lesson, Joe.
That's right. It was. So I'm just double checking. You never know. Of course, we can come in here and change this to Dune Buggy. And you know what? Change this to Dune Buggy. You should be really happy now.
I'm very happy. I feel good. We can now basically go ahead and save, and that's going to wrap up the lesson.
All right, cool.
All right, so with that, it concludes everything about Make the Turret functional inside of the game. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks a lot. Bye. All right, in this lesson here, what we're going to do is take a look at how we can get our miniguns functional. Remember, those are the little guns that are on the front of our Dune
right here. And if we actually show our bones real quick, it's going to be attached to gun attachment 1 and gun attachment 2. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
As set up in the last VTM.
That's right.
Now, these weapons, the driver's going to have control of. And that's going to be quite interesting. Though, if you remember, what we did is we only exported out one of those weapons. So only one. As a matter of fact, Joel, if you go ahead and switch over to that mesh inside your package right now, we'll show them. Over here in the minigun, there's only one of them. So we're going to need to spawn 2, and then, of course, set their locations and all this good stuff. So, well, not their locations, because, of course, that's being done by Bones, but there's a few things that we're going to have to set in regards to, like, how far that it can rotate, it can pivot. Because we don't want to, obviously, be able to turn it around and shoot ourselves, right?
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
And we don't want it to go, you know, where it can point straight down in the ground if you happen to push your mouse up and go upwards, or you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So when I say location, that's what I'm referring to, is pivoting and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to be looking at, and with this, we're going to actually start stealing or borrowing from another vehicle, the hover bike.
So if we go over to our classes here, and let's just kind of switch over to here, hover bike, plasma gun, and hover bike plasma projectile. So these are the 2 classes that we're going to need. So let's take these 2, go over to our other folder here, and just copy these guys over. And of course, we could just rename them. So instead of hover bike, just call it Doom, Dune. Thank you. And Dune. And we can just grab these 2 guys, go over to context, and just drop these 2 guys in here. So now we have Dune Plasma Gun and Dune Plasma Projectile.
And now we can go ahead and change our class names as well to match the file names.
Very important to do. Dunere. Come over to here, ONS Dune Plasma Projectile. Now let's come over here and let's see. There's a few things that we're going to need to change. This is just a empty thing. We can just leave that there for now. It doesn't really make any difference. Now, our yaw bone. If we come over to Unreal Ed and check this out. We did this before. We have gun rotation, gun fire, and root. Xenoplasma gun barrel. What we're going to need to do for our yaw and our pitch bone, they're all going to use the same one. Gun rotation. So copy this guy for our pitch bone, exactly the same thing. And weapon fire attachment bone.
It's going to be the very
gunfire.
Gunfire.
So change this to gunfire. Now fire force, we can leave that the same. Now, unlike in the last lesson, I actually remembered to change mesh. So what I'm going to do is change this over into ONS Dune Buggy Minigun. So simple as that.
Hey,
not too bad, eh? And of course, this projectile class. This is going to be what's fired. This is it's extending, ONS weapon. So what's going to actually be shot is stored in this class right here, what is defined. So we're going to need to change projectile class over to DuneBuggy.ONS Dune Plasma Projectile, which is this class right here. And of course we could just leave this all the same.
Yeah, we could get in there if we wanted to and start working with, you know, the speed, the damage, etc., etc.
Right.
Change the way it looks.
And so what we could do is come into here, and of course right now, if you remember, with the hover bike, let's switch over into Unreal Ed. Trying to collect my words here. And switch over to the hover bike. Right now, there's these 2 right here. And if you look, the plasma gun attachment is right in the center here, and these 2 are shooting it out. So what's happening is, it's shooting 2 in this one class. So you notice we have dual fire offset. Let's just set this to 0 for right now. So there's 2 shooting in one location. And that's okay for us because it looks pretty much the way we want it to be. Of course, we could come in here, tweak it to the way we want, and get rid of that whole dual fire offset thing entirely. But for our circumstances, this works out pretty well. So what we're going to do is, that's pretty much set up. Now, the important part. Go back over to ONSDuneBuggy.UC, come down to here, and instead of a passenger weapon, it needs to be a driver weapon. And of course, this is an array as well, so what we're going to do is just copy this, paste this here, and instead of passenger weapon, we're going to change this to driver weapons, because it needs to be controlled by the driver.
That's right.
So, under weapon pawn class, of course, check this out. If we go back into our ONS Dune Buggy, this is a simple ONS weapon. So, unlike our rear gun, it's no longer a weapon pawn class, just a weapon class. So we're going to change this to weapon class equals class DuneBuggy.ONS Dune, and what was it? Dune Plasma Gun. So change this over to Plasma Gun.
There you go.
And weapon bone, this is going to be Gun Attachment 1. So with that set up, now it is going to spawn our ONS Dune Plasma Gun at the location Gun Attachment 1. So I want to get this one working first, and then we'll go back and add another weapon, because it does require a little bit of extra coding to get that set up. So let's make sure this is all good. Come into here, all our bones are set up right. Our projectile class is set up right. Skeleton mesh is set up right. Go into our plasma here. This does not really need any tweaking whatsoever. We could, but we don't need to. So that's looking good. I'm happy. So what we can do is just press F9 and compile this guy.
Sounds like a winner.
So just 1 second, and as you can see down here, we are compiling Dune Plasma Projectile and Dune Plasma Gun. So let's press F10 and
time to go in the game.
Oh yeah. So with any luck at all, it should directly work, but you never know. And of course, we'll just kill all bots. And come in here.
From beginning. There you go. Yeah.
And look at that.
Hey,
we do have a gun here.
We do.
So let's go into here, get into our vehicle, and ooh, check this out. It is actually shooting. So we have something going on, and there is not 2 shooting, but only 1. And the hinge is actually correct already. We can shoot up and down, but that's okay. So everything's looking good.
Okay.
So let's exit out of this guy. And let's see, what else do we need to do? Now we need to add the other one. Now, what I did want to show is we have this start constraint and end constraint. What I want to do is set this up to be negative 8,192. This makes more sense. If we start out at negative 8,192, remember, these are set up to be 65,535 is 360 degrees. So if we divide that by 2, what we get is 32,000, blah, blah, blah. That's going to be 180 degrees. Divide that by 2, we're going to get, well, that would be 90 degrees. So divide 32,000, we're going to get 16,000 something. Divide that by 2, and what we're going to get is 8192.
45-degree angle.
Which is a 45-degree angle. Just kind of wanted to make sure that everyone understands exactly what's going on here. So from negative 45 degrees to positive 45 degrees. Very, very simple.
Just doing a little limiting here.
That's right. So that's cool. Now what we need to do is come back over to our Dune Buggy and add another driver weapon. So take this guy, copy him, paste him, change this to 2. We're done. Not really. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. If you have 2 weapons here, it's not going to directly switch between the 2. It's only going to have 0 being shot. So it's only going to have that. You know what? We might as well go into the game just to show
it.
Right, because it's kind of, people are like, huh, what? You know, kind of confusing.
Oh, yeah.
So, compile, let's just run this guy. And let's just press fire. Kill all our bots, come over to this guy. And you'll notice we do have 2 spawns, so that's really cool. But, if we come over to here, get in our vehicle, what's up with that?
Only 1 firing.
The other one just sits there and does nothing. Right. So what we need to do is come into here and check this out. What we want to do is overload the tick function, which happens, well, every tick. So let's go into here and say simulated function. So simulated function and tick. And it's past dt, which is the current time, current tick, whatever. And we'll call first thing we want to do is call super.tick. So anything that happens in any classes above us, let that happen first. Then we can come down to here and say weapons active weapon dot be active equals false. Now, what this is doing is weapons is an array that is available inside of this class. So what we're doing is saying this weapon, active weapon, which is a value that we're switching between 0 and 1, and what it's saying is weapons, active weapon, so the currently active weapon, dot be active, which is a boolean, set that equal to false. So the currently active weapon, set it to false. Then what we need to do is set active weapon, which is an integer as we were just discussing, set active weapon, flip it between 0 and 1. So active weapon equals active weapon plus 1, and then say modulus 2. So it's adding 1 to the current, so if we have 0, it adds 1 to it. Modulus 2 is going to leave it at 1. If it's 1, 1 plus 1 is going to give us 2. Modulus 2 is going to switch it back to 0. So very simple. Then we can come into here and say weapons, active weapon. Guess what I'm going to do here? Be active equals true. Exactly. And you know what? That's it. That's as simple as it is.
Pretty easy.
So we can come in here, press F9. So now what it's doing is switching between both weapons. So if we come in here, press F10, we should get some, well, good results. If we don't, I'll just blame you.
Sounds promising.
So let's kill all.
Blame me. Blame me.
Why?
I don't know.
It'll probably work.
Because you always do.
Look at this.
Sweet.
So now we have both of them firing, and they're both firing towards one location. If we did it the other way, they're both shooting, but they're both separated always. They're not both shooting at the same location. And look at that. They're nicely constrained so that we can't go past too far. Otherwise, they'd start shooting at us or doing some weird stuff.
So and of course, rotate around to the front, fire, and kind of zoom into it with the wheel.
Like so?
Yeah, look at that Star Wars type thing.
Oh yeah, some fancy stuff. So that's all there is to it. We can come in here obviously and change the color to anything we want, or we can change the weapon to anything we want. In fact, just want to show you how to have multiple weapons for a driver weapon. In fact, just having a driver weapon is cool.
Yeah, now go ahead and jump out and jump in the turret one more time.
Alright, you just want to...
I know. Blow something up.
Of course, we can't blow that up because, well, we're in the wrong location, so let's blow this guy up.
Hey, sweet. Okie dokie.
So that's going to pretty much wrap up on how to create the miniguns in the front.
And really, up to this point, I mean, we're done with the vehicle.
That's right.
The vehicle's finished. We've got one more thing that we want to show you, and that's how we can even apply some custom animation for our player jumping in the vehicle.
Come up to the front here, and when we press to get in, he doesn't just hop in.
Right.
He actually has an animation of him hopping in.
Right. So with that, that's going to wrap up this lesson. Thanks, everyone. Alright, in this lesson here, what we're going to do is make things even more interesting than what we've seen so far.
Is it possible?
Yes, it is. Here is how. What we're going to do is we're going to show you how we can take the custom model that we've made and applied custom animation to, and then customly set up inside of Unreal Ed. We're going to show you how we can get Zerial to climb into the vehicle right when you run up to it, as long as, of course, you're using the Zerial player. When you run up to the vehicle and you go to jump in, it's going to look proper. Now, as opposed to just, bink, appearing there. Now, how practical is this? Well, if you're doing something like a matinee movie, hey, that's really good stuff because, well, it would make sense. You'd want to see the character actually run up and jump into the vehicle.
That's right.
If you're doing this for standard gameplay, though, it's a little bit more...
It can look cool.
It can look cool, but it's a little bit more involved. You're going to need to make sure that all the files required, in other words, all the custom players...
Right, in our case, we're not really doing any error checking either. I mean, if you want to do this in a real game, you would want to make sure that the animation sequence that we have in there is in existence first.
Right, exactly. And, of course, with the default game, you're not going to have that.
No.
So just keep that in mind. But still, this is very cool stuff to see, especially if you're, like, designing a first-person type game, or, excuse me, a single-player type game with Unreal Tournament. So what are we going to do? Well, first thing we need to do is get our custom animation in. And we're not showing you every single step because every single step is shown in one VTM or another already. So really it's just going to be kind of like beating a dead horse half to death.
And we don't want to do that.
That's because that's bad, and you just shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So we've already got a PSA file, and that PSA file contains a single animation sequence called entering vehicle. Okay?
Right.
So we need to get that animation brought in and appended over here to the left-hand side to Zerial, where he has all the standard animation that you get when we link up to animation for another character. And if we come over here to animation, you'll notice that our default animation is set to human male A dot biped male A. And we have no animation set right now. It's because we're referencing somebody else's animation. Well, what we need to do is we need to obviously go to that animation and add in our own sequence. But you don't want to start modifying the actual game files.
That's a bad thing.
That comes with the game. We've been preaching that throughout this entire VTM. What you want to do is we're going to make a copy of one of their players that has the animation in it, and then we can go into that copy, modify it, and then re-reference our animation here to that player.
That's right.
And that'll be a lot better, obviously.
Oh, definitely. So what we're going to do is come over to this right here, go up. This is our UT2004 folder, and we're going to go into animations. And right down here we have jug.ukx. So what we're going to do is copy this right here. So copy it, and we'll just name it myjug. And it's going to be inside of this file that we're going to add that animation. And of course we can come in here and just make it not read-only.
Right, because we're going to be, we need to write to it.
That's right. So if we come back over into our animation...
See, there's a reason that Epic made their stuff read-only.
There is a reason.
Okay.
So if we open this up, we want to open myjug.ukx. So it's all working as you look down here.
And he has an animation set now, so we can actually append animation to it.
That's right. So if you look down here, we currently do not have the vehicle driving that we want to have. So we can come up to File, Animation Append, enter vehicle.psa. We'll just open this guy up, and myjug, jug A, and...
we can go ahead and use the override existing sequence. Well, actually, never mind.
Right.
Because we're using entering vehicle. I saw a vehicle driving, and I thought, wait a minute, but that's the standard pose of him sitting there.
Right.
So at this point, you've just witnessed Buzz losing his mind.
Wow.
So enter driving is not in there right now, so we don't need to have that. So just, you're
Press
good
okay.
to go.
So
Yep.
merge sequences into existing, and ding, oh, it worked. Okay. And if we scroll all the way down here, we have enter vehicle.
Enter driving, whatever. Like I said, I've lost my mind.
Oh, okay. So if we play this, check it out. Ooh.
So now the jug's ready to jump in.
Jump into our...
And isn't that cool? We're seeing this on one of the characters that comes with Unreal Tournament 2004 and 2003. Cool. And it's with animation that was developed over inside of Maya that David had done earlier.
That's right. And if you look over here, let's directly copy myjug.jug.
But before we go far, we're going to want to make sure that we save this new package now that we've modified it.
Very good point. So let's say save myjug.
And replace it.
Replace it. So now we have myjug with the new sequence in here. Let's hop back over to Zuriel, and instead of this animation, we want the other one, the myjug one. So what we're going to do is come over to Edit and say Unlink Animation Mesh, so he comes back to the default T stance, or whatever kind of stance you want to call it.
Default pose.
Right. And come over to Default Animation, press Ctrl-V, dink, and if we just refresh this,
and look at that.
Look at this. At the very bottom, we now have Enter Vehicle. So we have our custom player here, dink, with a nice animation of him getting into the vehicle.
Perfect.
How cool is that? So everything's set up. Go into
Save
save.
that out.
Always remember to save.
If you do not save your package and you go into code and you start working and then you get over to the game, it's not going to work.
No, it's not.
And you're going to be like, why is it not going to work? Because I don't get it.
Yeah.
This is why.
Yeah, exactly. So let's replace this.
Whatever he said.
Whatever he said. Now, if we switch over into context, we need to add a little bit of code to make this work.
Yeah, that's right. There is some coding involved because somehow along the way, at its most basic form, you're going to have to say play anim.
That's right.
You got to play an animation. Those of you that have seen our scripted pawn lesson, or actually, let's see, which one was it? Maybe it was scripted pawn. It was one of them where we were doing play anims. I mean, a matinee for sure to look at play anims. So we're doing the same thing here, but now we're doing it inside of code.
So,
and before Joel starts typing, take a look at what file we're adding this to. This is the onsdunebuggy.uc file. So in other words, this is kind of the main file for the whole vehicle.
This is the file that actually extends ONS Wheelscraft.
That's right.
So if we come down here, we're going to overload a function. And this function is going to be kDriverEnter. Now this function is called every time a character enters into a vehicle. So kDriverEnter pawn P. And inside of here, we're going to say, that's cool, and super.kDriverEnter. So we're going to call the function above us so that it can do its thing. It has a whole bunch of things that it needs to do. So if we just left this out, that would be a bad thing. It wouldn't be able to do what it needs to do. So super.kDriverEnter. And
we'll just pass it P.
And we'll just pass it P. And of course, our Terminator. And then we're going to have temp driver equal to driver. Now, we do not have temp driver yet, so let's go up here, and we need to set up a few variables quick. So inside of here, we're going to define the variable pawn.
Temp driver is of type pawn.
Temp driver of type pawn. And another variable of type float that's going to hold time start. Now, this is going to become very clear in a few seconds. So if we come down to here, what we need to do at this point, right when he enters, we need to start playing this animation. So we're going to say driver.playAnim and pass it enter vehicle. This is the sequence that we want to play. And of course, if we come over in here, if you remember, recap time, enter vehicle is the name of our sequence.
And since this is the default animation for this guy, you'll notice on the right-hand side in the properties, then it's going to be able to find it with absolutely no problem.
That's right. So if we come into context, and we just set up some defaults here, so that's all set up. Now, we really don't want, while the a character.
We do want or we don't want or what's going on, Joel?
Actually, what I wanted to say was
we don't want the vehicle to be drivable as the player is jumping in.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say. My tongue's like all twisting up.
Because it'll look funny as he's climbing in for the vehicle to start speeding off because you're in some sort of heavy chase or something and you're trying to run.
Yeah, that would be bad. So let's say set driver equal to none. So the driver, if it's equal to none, then, well, he can't drive, can he?
No, because, well, no driver.
So what we're going to do is now say time start, which we just defined up here as a float. And we're going to say this equals level dot time seconds. We're going to need this time start inside of our tick function to calculate, is the animation done playing?
That's right. So basically, we want to make sure there is no driver until the animation's done, and then give it back to you so that you can start driving again.
That's right. So we could. There's a lot of different ways to do this.
So now you can see why we're using temp driver.
That's right.
We're using temp driver to hold you, the one getting into the vehicle, so that we can then say that the driver's none, and then after the animation's done, we're then going to set it back so that the driver's equal to, well, you again, because you're being stored in temp player.
So all we need to do is say if level.time seconds minus time start. So time start is what we stored down here. If level, the current time, minus time start is greater than or equal to the length of our animation, which is 1.73, because if you look over here in Unreal Ed, it's 53 frames long. 53 divided by the number of frames per second is going to give you that right there.
It is correct there.
So what we're going to do is say if it's already done playing and B driving is set to true. So this is another variable that they have in there saying we are currently driving and driver is equal to none at the moment.
That's right. The only way you will ever get B driving is true and driver equals none is if we've fallen into our overridden function of kDriver enter. That's the only way. So in other words, you just jumped into a vehicle, but we're in the middle of jumping and we're in the middle of playing that animation to get us into the vehicle. That's the only way we'll ever have both of those, one set to true, one set to none.
So at this point, the animation needs to be done. So if we get inside of this if statement, the animation is now done. Now we need to make it drivable. So what we're going to do is say driver equals temp driver, which we just set up down here. So now the vehicle is drivable. So if we come down to here, we can say temp driver, just as a cleanup thing, temp driver equals none. So it's cleaned up. Now, one more thing we need to do. We need to overload the function kDriver leave. And the reason for this is, well, I did it again. What I really wanted to do is set this to an event.
Event bool.
Exactly. And start typing away and just default to typing function.
Well, the bottom line is, as the player starts to jump in and you have the animation playing, you don't want the user to be able to jump back out.
Right, while he's jumping in.
That's right. We want the animation to complete.
That's right. So we can come into here and say, bool, this is the one argument that's passed to it, so B force leave. And we already have the bracket set up, so inside of here we'll say if, just as we did up here with level.timeSeconds, level.timeSeconds minus time start is greater than or equal to, let's make sure first that the animation is done playing. Then we can say, make sure driver is currently not none. In other words, there is a driver and the vehicle is currently drivable and the animation is done playing. Then we can come in here and say, alright, you can leave. So call the super.driver leave and just pass it the same argument that was passed to us.
And then we'll simply finalize the whole thing by returning true.
Yes, exactly.
Looking good.
So you know what? That's all the code that's needed. Of course, there's a lot of different ways to do this, but this is really simple way to do it, and I like it. Yeah. I like simple.
Yeah, I agree. Trying to keep things easy to understand.
That's right. So let's press
compile.
F9 to compile this guy. You know what? It better work.
Yeah, it's all good, man.
Of course.
I was just kidding.
Right over here. You know what? I spelled something wrong. Coming into here.
Let's see if we can find what Joel typed wrong.
Level.timeSeconds. Back off, time start. Float, time start. I bet it's something retarded. And let me just come in here and start checking it out.
A little troubleshooting here. Okay.
Missing, think, and if. So let me see, and driver. Ah, right here. I'm setting B driver.
He's doing an assignment operation as opposed to an equality test.
Nah, never happened. I can't believe that was caught on video. Ah, that's horrible. So let's press F10. That's never supposed to happen.
We can edit it out.
Yeah.
Nope, you know the rule. No editing.
Okay.
Troubleshooting. See now, troubleshoot's always a good thing.
And let's kill all the bots just because I can.
Make sure our player's correct.
And let's make sure our player's correct. And it is. And we can come into here. Press U.
Look at that!
Wow.
Then start driving.
Then he can start driving. And check this out. When we're entering, I'm trying to move and I can't.
He's hitting you. He could not jump out.
So now, he's drivable. We can shoot. Everything is cool.
Now when you jump in, try to start going forward. So, go. He can't go forward until he's
now
in.
I can. So check that out.
Let's just see that one more time, maybe a little closer.
Yeah, come to the other side. And let's press U.
That's just too cool.
Oh, yeah.
Now Zuriel's ready to rock and roll in his checkered vehicle. Checkered Doom
How
buggy.
How cool is that?
So really, with that, that's going to wrap up this VTM. I mean, it took a look at a lot of things, but we tried to keep things as simple as possible, showing you kind of a foundation, just a base point to start from, and a foundation of all the files, how they interact with one another, but utilizing files that are already in existence so that you don't have to recreate the wheel. Like I said, Epic's already created vehicles that fly, vehicles that hover, vehicles that drive with four wheels, vehicles that are like tanks. I mean, there's so many different types. All you need to do is you're making your own vehicle. Just, pick a vehicle that's going to simulate one of those.
Don't reinvent the vehicle.
That's right. Don't reinvent it from ground up. And then once you've done that, once you've been able to follow through what we've done here, I think you're going to find hundreds of default properties that are just a matter of playing when you start getting into the torque and the suspension and how the distribution back and forth between the wheels.
Right.
I mean, that gets a little bit more advanced, but that really comes down to just a lot of playing. What we've shown you here is just how to get a vehicle that you've created inside of Maya all the way over into the game with custom animation, fully functional, and weapons that a driver can use and set up so that a passenger can jump on as well, and a passenger can fire a weapon also. So with that, I think we've accomplished what we've set out to do, and that's going to wrap up this VTM. Thanks a lot, everyone.